guys, how you doing? It's Rabea. I hope you're all well. So this video is all about Matthew's effects. Hopefully some of you have heard of those guys. They've been around for, I guess I heard about them maybe 2 years ago now, something like that. They're based out in the Pacific Northwest, and they create effects pedals, overdrive pedals, fuzz, modulation, all that kind of stuff. They're a pedal brand. I'd heard about them and I was speaking to their distributor in the UK, and they sent me 5 pedals to take a look at in this video. So I'm going to try and make it not really long, but we're going to look at 5 different pedals, a range of different things like reverbs, overdrives, fuzzes, modulation. And I have to say, having had a look at these pedals, the packaging is fantastic, the visuals are fantastic, and generally speaking, I really enjoy the first impressions of these pedals. So we're going to take a look, starting with the Cosmonaut V2. So because there's a lot to cover in this video, we're going to sort of breeze over each pedal, have a little play, see what we think, and move on. Because I said there are 5 pedals to do in this video. So the first one we're taking a look at is the Cosmonaut V2. I have a little information card here. The Cosmonaut V2 is essentially 2 different reverbs and a delay in one pedal. So you've got like a modulated reverb and then one that's a little bit more straight up that you can control, like the high and low decay, all that kind of stuff, and create really nice soundscapes along with a delay. So there are 3 different parameters. You've got the Lunar 2, which is a dark, haunted modulated reverb. Then we've got the Sputnik, which apparently was the original that started it all. The Sputnik algorithm lets you dial in haunting modulation into a reflective plate reverb, so it's good for like ambient kind of stuff. All the kind of things I like. And then we've got the Vostok 1, which is a tape analog delay. So the controls are fuel, anomaly, and travel. Fuel controls the wet-dry mix, anomaly controls the amount of shimmer or octave, and the travel controls the amount of feedback of the reverb. The 2 switches, essentially what this allows you to do is you can control the pedal by turning it on and off with the bottom switch, but then the Alt switch allows you to swap between the top row of controls and the bottom, and then on the side we've got a couple of little dip switches that you can control, which allow you to access what you want the top row of controls to do and the bottom row to do. So for example, I could have the Lunar 2 on the top row of controls here, and I could have the Vostok 1 on the bottom, then use the alternate switch to jump between those 2 different effects without actually having to turn the reverb, well, pedal on and off. On top of that, you've got an expression pedal out, and then you also got another alternate foot switch out as well. That's the first pedal we're going to look at, so let's get right into it. Okay, so I've got the guitar. This is the sound of it straight into the VX100 on a clean. Sounds great. Now when you turn the pedal on without using the alternate switch, it controls the top row first. And then when you hit the alternate switch, it controls the bottom row. So at the minute on the top row, I've got the Vostok 1 delay. And then on the bottom row, I've got the Lunar 2. So let's check it out. Start with the Vostok. Okay, so the Vostok, it's an analog tape delay. Definitely sounds. You can hear the integrity of the repeats sort of degrading. I'm just going to throw in a little bit of crunch on my amplifier so it's not so clean. It's also worth pointing out I'm running this into the front, so I don't want loads of gain, but here we go. So that sounds great. So let's mess with the controls. Okay, so you heard the Vostok there. Without doing anything, I'm going to switch over to the Luna 2. It's a really nice sounding reverb. Right, without changing too much, I'm just going to swap over to the Sputnik, is it? I think it's called that. I can read that on the side. Yep, so this is the Sputnik now. A little more traditional. And then we can swap back over. So you get the general gist of how this pedal works. My one, I guess, it's a criticism really, is that there isn't a trails mode, so when I'm swapping back over, I'm not getting the reverb trail. I'm assuming because it's all running off the same DSP maybe, so it's kind of like, you know, you don't want to overload it, you know, so you can't do that. Secondly, I would have said that it would be nice to have both running at the same time without having to use any kind of external foot switches or anything. But apart from that, the quality of the effects sound really nice. So don't let that sort of taint your opinion or at least your decision on possibly trying this out. The Cosmonaut V2 is great sounding. I love the sound of the tape delay, and I especially like the sound of the Sputnik reverb. So there you go, there's Cosmonaut V2. Let's move on. Next up, we have the Astronomer V2, which is another reverb pedal. It's exactly the same layout as Cosmonaut. That was a delay with 2 reverbs. This is 3 reverbs. So let me go over the controls really fast. You've got mass, glow, and travel. So mass controls the dry wet. Glow controls the amount of shimmer or octave in the reverbs, and then travel controls the feedback or the decay time, really. In terms of what the different modes are, we've got the Canis Major, which is an echo verb, and it essentially allows you to do pads and droning kind of reverbs. We've got Orion, which is a whole reverb with a shimmer, and then we've got the Ursa Major, which is a chamber reverb, which sounds cool, with a pre-octave mixed in. So once again, we've got an expression out on the side, we've got an alternate switch out on the other side, and then I think we can switch on the pedal here, and then we can control it with, we control which row of controls we want to use using the alternate switch. And with the dip switches on the side, you can have the top row of controls could be any one of those 3 reverbs, likewise with the bottom. So let's get into it. All right, once again, we've got the telly. Let's start with the Canis Major using the top row of controls. Here we go. That is a cool sounding reverb. It sounds like there's delay in there. It could just be me, but it definitely sounds like it once again. Okay, I've quickly thrown this into the loop of the Super Kraken because I want to hear it with some gain. So here we go. That's mental. I like that a lot. There's very ambient. It's my kind of thing, so I'm enjoying that. That is the, how do you say that again? Canis Major. There's some interesting names, I must admit. Okay, so I'm going to hit the alternate switch, which I already done, and we're currently running the, let's move over to the Orion. So this is the Orion. So you can hear the shimmer in there. Sounds cool. I must admit, shimmer isn't my go-to favourite reverb sound, purely because I've never been something I've been a fan of personally. But in terms of the quality of a shimmer reverb, I mean, it's there, sounds good. It's just, like I said, it's not my kind of reverb sound, but don't let that, again, taint your opinion of this pedal. It's just personal preference. You know, shimmer's never really caught my attention. So anyway, let's move on to the Ursa Major. Okay, so now we can control the intensity of the high end. So there you go, there's the Astronomer V2, quick look at that. I particularly like the Canis Major because it was really ambient, it was right up my street, I could have got along with that straight away. And the Ursa Major, it was a shimmer, so at first I was like, I don't know, but then I found something that I really enjoyed in it and was able to create something that I think is a really nice kind of sound. So it wins for me. Out of the two, the Cosmonaut and the Astronomer, I feel like the Astronomer is more my cup of tea. Not being able to have the trails on when you switch between the top and bottom row of controls is a little bit of a letdown, but apart from that, it's a great pedal. Anyway, let's move on. Okay, we're getting through this. This is now pedal 3 of 5, moving across from ambience across to the drive stuff. Now we're in the middle, which is the Chemist, and that is a modulation pedal. So this is the Chemist V2. One thing I would point out is that they really do go all in with the themes of each pedal. And I have to say, visually, they're taking a leaf out of Walrus Audio's books here, because the visuals are very cool on all their pedals. So not only are they keeping the controls on brand with the vibe of each pedal, they also look really good. Anyway, this is the Chemist V2. So what does it do? We've got 3 modes. We've got a chorus, we've got an octave, and a phaser. So Cobalt is the chorus vibrato. Pretty self-explanatory. You can control between chorus and vibrato. Lithium, which is octave, so it creates a polyphonic organ-like texture. And then Iridium, which is a phaser. In terms of the control layout, we've got reaction, catalyst, and formula. See what I mean? On brand. I like it. So on the left, you've got reaction, controls the wet-dry. Catalyst controls the speed for Iridium and Cobalt. Octave up and down for Lithium. And then we've got formula, which is on the right, and that controls the depth for Iridium and width for Cobalt, and the octave down mix for Lithium. Once again, you've got the alternate switch. You've got the 2 dip switches on the side, which can control what you want the top row of controls to do, and the bottom. It's kind of a nice way of keeping a small footprint for your pedal by having 3 different effects in it and 2 rows of controls. Like, to be fair, if you had another row of controls, there wouldn't be a lot of real estate left for foot switches for live purposes, so I do like that. Expression out on the side, alternate foot switch out on the other side, and again you've got this alternate switch which controls which row of controls you want to use at one time. So let's get right into this one. Okay, we've got a bit of crunch going on the VX100 now with the telly. I like it. So let's start with Iridium. Cool. I mean, that for me, just it's like a funky, weird sound. I'm digging that. Of course, it can be more subtle, of course. Let me put a bit of reverb on the tube amp expander. Cool. It's vibey, of course. Anyway, let's move on. Now we're going to do Cobalt, so I'm going to use the alternate switch to swap over. It's a very powerful pedal, can do a lot. Let's move over. I actually really like that effect, that was very cool. Okay, so back to the top row, and now we're on Lithium, I believe. So there's the Chemist, 3 effects in one. They're all great effects, all useful. I found that on each one there was something I could come up with, like a cool little idea that would have been cool in a song section or a verse or something like that. I think Cobalt's probably my favourite, which is this one. Because I just found it's that kind of vibey, phasery kind of sound. I quite like that. The way you can make it go really intense and kind of weird sounding, or you can use it in a traditional sense. But I did also like Lithium, which was the octave kind of organy sound that you could do the kind of funky chanking thing with. So yeah, great pedal. Really enjoyed that. So let's move on. All right, so now we're on to pedal number 4 of 5. We're now into the world of gain and overdrive and that kind of things. Now we've done reverbs and modulations. So we're now into the Architect V3. Essentially what the Architect is a clean boost and overdrive that you can control independently. And so you can put it in front of your amp. It will just push the front end, and then you can use a boost to push it even further. It will also sort of scoop out a bit of that low end, and it will tighten things up, that kind of thing. So it's quite a useful tool. So let me get into it and tell you what it does. So I'll start with the dip switches on the side of the pedal. So you've got the clipping switch, which sets the type of clipping stage between silicon, diode lift, and classic germanium. And then you've got the boost, which you can control between a silicon or a MOSFET boost, depending on what you want it to sound like. So that is quite cool. Output on the left, on the top row. Then you've got mid and you've got bass. And then on the bottom, you've got the control for the boost, activated by this little foot switch here. And then, of course, you've got treble in the middle and gain on the bottom right. Whereas before you were controlling the top and bottom rows of controls with this extra switch, now it's just toggling the boost on and off, which you can control the amount of boost in there as well. So if you're running a kind of low crunch, like I'm going to be doing in this section of the video, I'll then be able to push it into like high gain overdrive kind of sounds. It's also worth pointing out there is an external bypass jack socket on the side, which basically you put a TRS cable in there and it toggles the Architect and the boost bypass independently. So you can control each one independently if you want to. Let's check it out. So this is the sound without anything in. This is just the Kraken VX100 and a bit of a crunch. Just to say, I've put some reverb in from the tube amp expander. Everything's at 12 o'clock here, so the clipping stage is currently set to germanium and the boost is, I'll put it on silicon for now. So let's check it out. This is without. Here we go. Yeah, it's thick. I like it. I had to push it a little bit, but it's thick. Yeah, that's great. So I'm going to, I'm not touching the boost yet, I'm just going to move from germanium to diode lift. That's sick. Okay, silicon. Sounds really good. Okay, so I think germanium. Actually, diode lift I was feeling the most. Right, so I'm going to drop the gain. And I'm going to use the boost. So that's on a silicon boost. Whoa. It sounds almost fuzzy. Oh, it's sick. I'm having fun. That is killer. That is really killer. Anyway, so what I've done there is gone through all the clipping stages and the boost and just ripped it. That was sick. I really like this pedal. I mean, it's fair to say that we just did a load of different style pedals. Now we moved on to the gain stuff, but the way that reacts with the Kraken, this is what we had. To this. Then throw in the boost. Absolutely sick. Architect V3. I like it. Okay, on to the final pedal, 5 of 5. Thank you for bearing with me in this video, in this endeavour to check out all the Matthews effects they sent my way. So we're now on to pedal 5. This is number 2 of the sort of gainy side of things. So we're looking at the Whaler V2. The Whaler is an original fuzz circuit built on a desire to find that elusive tone that is always taunting us. A unique pedal that is capable of more than just a great fuzz. Dive into its deceptively simple controls for a deep wealth of sounds that will leave you constantly finding new ways to use it. I like that. It's confidence in the words. Okay, so I'm assuming, well, it's a fuzz, I know that much. And it says here, the Whaler takes a guitar from a Velcro monster of the depths to a massive attacking beast of the sea. So I'm guessing you can do sort of a couple of different styles of fuzz with it. Controls obviously you've got your on and off, and then we've got squish, which takes your guitar from a Velcro monster to the depths of the massive attacking beast of the sea once again. So that's the type of, I guess that goes between a Velcro fuzz to something more open. And then we've got tone, which of course is tone, cuts the highs, boosts the lows, cuts the highs. And then we've got body, which lets you dial in the amount of mids. Then we've got the output of the pedal, and we've got the sustain, so it controls how hot your input signal is going into the circuit. So that would be that. Let's check it out. This is my guitar straight in. Everything at 12. That's definitely a huge sounding fuzz. I'm going to put the guitar down. I messed around with the controls. Hopefully John included some of that in there. At first I was like, I can't find where this is really going to let go and let rip. And then suddenly it just opened up and I was like, that's a lot of intensity. And with a fuzz, you know me, if you watch my channel for a while, I'm a fan of fuzz. And I look for that intensity when it mixes with the amp. And that was exactly that. And I was able to just go straight into it and really enjoy it. So that would conclude the overview of Matthew's effects. There was 5 pedals there. It was a lot to go over. I really hope that the video isn't like hours long, but I know it's going to be a longer one than normal because there was so much to cover. I think if I had it's hard to say what a favourite is because they all do different things. But I definitely enjoyed the Architect. I think that was, in terms of a drive pedal, not out of this lot, but in terms of a drive pedal that I would use, and over the years I've demoed, that was impressive. It did a lot, and it was able to get a lot out of one pedal into one quite low gain sound. So really enjoyed that. I think probably the Astronaut V2 was probably my favourite one, just because it had a lot of different variations of reverb and I could enjoy getting into those and start creating some weird sounds. And of course the Chemist did a lot in one box. In fact, they're all just good. I think that was the idea, was for Matthews to send me all these pedals to have an overview and give my opinion of what I think. So my opinion is they sound great. They're all very high quality in terms of their sound quality. They look great. All the visuals are on point, and the branding of each pedal is on point in terms of the controls and the way they go about doing things. And of course the packaging is really cool. You haven't seen any of the packaging, but they come in these really nice boxes that you can see here. Look at this. And then if you open it up, you get inside, you get lots of little like postcards and things. You get a big sticker of each. There you go. You get a big sticker of each bit of art that was on the pedal. Generally speaking, they're doing it right. In terms of pedals, I mean, how many pedal brands are there and how many pedals get released all the time. And for a company that haven't been around as long as some others to come out and just go check out all what we've got to offer, I think Matthews have done a really good job of doing that. They've caught the attention of, I know these are being stocked in Andertons, so can't really complain. I think they all did a great job. There's a couple of little functionality things that I would have liked to have seen, like trails on some of the other more ambient pedals and being able to control 2 effects at the same time. But aside from that, those are very small details. I think they're doing a great job. So thank you to Matthews for sending the pedals. Thank you very much for watching this video. I'll put links in the description box below to all these pedals. I've been Rabea, and I will see you all very soon.